In the heart of East Africa, where the great rivers met the golden sands of the coast, there once ruled a mighty king, Sultan Jabari bin Mwanga. His kingdom stretched from the shores of the Indian Ocean deep into the hinterlands, thriving in trade, culture, and wisdom. The influence of the Arabs had long shaped his people's ways, blending with their own traditions to create a powerful, prosperous realm. Jabari was respected by his people and feared by his enemies. Under his reign, the city of Mji wa Dhahabu flourished, known for its grand mosques, bustling markets, and warriors clad in fine armor. When the first white men arrived, strangers from across the sea, bearing gifts and promises of friendship, Jabari welcomed them as honored guests. He had heard of their kind from the traders and scholars who sailed the coasts, and he believed in diplomacy over war. But the white men, with their smooth words and calculated patience, were not merely traders. They were conquerors. They built their forts and sent their missionaries. They spoke of treaties that only benefited them and sowed discord among Jabari's allies. Before he realized their true intent, the colonialists turned against him, branding him a relic of the past. His own council, poisoned by foreign gold and whispers, betrayed him. One night, under the pretext of negotiation, they seized his palace. Stripped of his throne and his titles, Jabari was exiled. His once loyal generals bent the knee to the colonial governor. The kingdom he had built was no more. The people whispered of his fate, some said he had died in exile, others that he had fled across the sea. But in truth, Sultan Jabari did not die. He shed his royal garments, adorned the cloak of a humble medicine man, and disappeared into the villages. With his knowledge of herbs, spirits, and healing, he wandered from town to town, aiding his people in secret. The colonizers dismissed him as a mere old man, a relic of a forgotten era. For years, he watched. He listened. He endured. His people suffered under the heavy hand of colonial rule, forced labor, land seizures, broken spirits. He saw the same men who had once knelt before him now groveling to foreign masters. He saw his warriors reduced to servants, his scholars silenced, his lands drained of their riches. Then, one night, as the wind carried the sound of distant drums, a message reached him. His old allies, the very ones he had once turned his back on, the warriors of the highlands, the desert raiders, the rebel chieftains, had not forgotten him. They too had suffered under the invaders. And they were ready to fight. Jabari did not hesitate. He shed the mask of the medicine man and once more donned the spirit of the warrior king. He moved through the land in secret, uniting the scattered factions, speaking the old oaths of brotherhood. He reminded them of their ancestors, of their lost glories. Then, on a night when the moon shone red like the blood of their fathers, they struck. The rebellion began as whispers in the dark, then rose in the wind. Village after village rose up, throwing off their chains. Colonial outposts burned. Betrayers were cast down. At the heart of it all, leading his people with sword and wisdom, was Sultan Jabari bin Mwanga, no longer a mere medicine man, but the lion who had returned to reclaim his kingdom. The war raged for years, but it was clear the invaders had underestimated the resilience of a people bound by history, by honor, by the fire of a fallen king who refused to be forgotten. And so, when the last colonial fort fell, and the land was once more in the hands of its rightful sons and daughters, Jabari stood before his people, not as a king seeking power, but as a father who had come home. And the drums of Mji wa Dhahabu beat once more, echoing the name of the lion who had reclaimed his pride.